Good evening, guys, and welcome back to the Global Racing Network. We are back here once again for round number 13 of GRL, here from a very sunny Silverstone circuit in Northamptonshire, UK. So we see the first cars making their way out onto track, and the first man who will be heading out onto track is Void Beam. As he makes his way onto circuit, and he will be leading us round on the opening stages. As he makes his way down the back straight for the first time. Apologies, the last couple of races for GRL haven't been on the channel. There has been a lot of goings on, especially in my side, and a nice announcement that from in a few weeks' time we'll have PSGL races on the channel as well, which I can confirm has happened. There was a few rumours going about, was I trying to do something with PSGL, and the rumours are true, and the deal is done, I can tell you. So there will be PSGL races coming on the Global Racing Network from the next couple of weeks, which will really boost the fan base of the channel and hopefully take the channel forward in its next step, as we see Void Beam making his way onto lap 1 in the league that started the Global Racing Network off, really, GRL, and it's progressed from there for the last year or so. Void Beam DRS down into Brooklands, nice and tidy through there so far. Gets the double apex right at Luffield and makes his way down through Woodcote, down the old pit straight, and into Copse Corner, and he's pretty flat through there, pretty much on the limit is Void Beam as he heads into Maggots and Beckett's, on board with him as he comes through Beckett's and now into Chapel, running a little bit wide, and he's got his lap invalidated, unfortunately. Oh, that was a crossfire with a very big spin in the Aston. That's at Copse Corner. That is a big off there. Ivy Whiffle's going to be the first to set a lap then, due to Void Beam going a little bit too wide at Chapel. As Ivy round the final corner over the line, 127.9 to open up for Ivy Whiffle. Mandro in the other Aston is just starting a lap. Is that Wreck Diver coming around the last corner? It is indeed. 127.7 for him. It's 2/10 quicker than Ivy Whiffle. Who else have we got out there? Josh S. Gaming's coming around the final corner, but he is invalidated, so he will not get a lap. Lucas Percy hasn't started one. Is that George Matt coming through the final chicane? Yes, it is. I think his teammate Get Noted is ahead of him. He's just done a 28.1. What can George Matt do? 28.6 for George Matt. So the Alpines currently were on the second row until Honesy on the mediums done a 27.1. Nice to see Honesy back tonight in the Ferrari. Not seen him for a few weeks. Not seen him much in the Pro-Am Formula Racing League either, so it's nice to see Honesy back and getting some times on the board. Tom is just starting a lap. Oh, that was a big accident. Who's that? That's Josh Chase Gaming. That is at Copse Corner. And that is a very big off on the inside. I'm wondering if he touched the curb on the outside and lost the rear end. But he's looped it round. And he's going to have to head for the pit lane for a new front wing. Meanwhile, I was going to flick to Mandro. He's just 27.5. So currently sticks it second on the on the first row actually. Second place. Get noted at the moment. That's on the exit of Chapel. So he's going to have to get his car pointing the right direction. He needs to shut his DRS, that's why he can't keep it in a straight line. Now he has shut it. He must have it on auto DRS, because as soon as he accelerated, the rear wing opened back up. Atrocity 29.2 so far for the McLaren driver, as he makes his way down the hanger straight into Stowe. And he is heading for the pit lane, so he is not on the lap. A man who is on the lap, Mac Magician, who is reserving tonight, along with Josh Jess Gaming, the two drivers reserving who are normally tier 2 drivers. See what Matt can do tonight. It's fairly smooth so far for the Haas driver. Down the hanger straight. Getting up to nearly 300 k's before you hit the brakes into Stowe Corner. And this is looking tidy for Mac. Where is this going to put him? I don't think he's going to be the quickest. He might get 28.9 in the end. It's a P8. Again, not the quickest we've seen, but I'm sure he'll go again on the next lap. You've got to expect that tier 2 drivers are going to be nearer the back of the field. The fact that they're placed in tier 2 due to the fact they're not quite as quick. Waffler over the line, 28.2 for Waffler on a set of mediums. So that's P6 for him currently. He's just got his second run invalidated. As Void Beam, who couldn't get a lap first time out due to track limits, is trying again. He's gone out on a fresh set of softs, so let's see what he can do on this run as he makes his way into Cops. Pretty flat through there again. There was a yellow in that sector. I'm wondering if that's going to compromise his pace. I think it was Matt Magician off the road in the Haas, but Void Beam has gone purple second sector, so this is looking very good for Void Beam so far. Crossfire Strikes has just posted a 142.2, which is miles off the pace, so he must have had a spin in that lap somewhere. But Void Beam out of the final corner, over the line, and it's a 26.9, first man into the 1 minute 26s. And it's Void Beam on the softs, 2 tenths quicker than Honesy, who qualified on the mediums. Who else have we got out there? Well, Fazak's missing a front wing, so I'm wondering if he's had a moment. Josh Just Gaming in the Haas. He's going to look to try and put a time on the board. He's just coming through Woodcote and onto the old pit straight. And down into Cops. And so far this is looking fairly tidy for him. Looks fairly smooth through there as well. As he heads onto the back straight, down the hanger straight into Stowe Corner. It's just gaming round the final corner, 127.7 for Just Chess Gaming. And while I was speaking that, we have a new man on provisional pole. It's Crossfire Strikes with a 126.4 in the Aston. Sticks it on provisional pole for the time being. Can Voidbeam or Honesy respond? We'll have to wait and see. We still have a couple of quick guys to set laps. The two of them being Tom Go Prof and Noise Job. So, in fact, Noise Job's just coming through the final few corners now. As he makes his way out the corner, 141.2. That is miles off the pace for Noise Job. He has definitely had a spin as well during that lap. Tom Go Prof heading into the Vale chicane. Then round Club Corner. Onto over the line, 127.0. So not into the 26s. And Voidbeam has improved as well. He's done a 26.9 now. But Crossfire Strikes has improved as well with a 26.4, which is a very quick lap indeed. George Matt in the Alpine. What can he do? Can he pull himself up the orders? He makes his way through Cops. And heads his way through Maggots and Beckett's into Chapel. He's not improving on his lap, so we're going to go and see another man who you would think should be on the top, Lucas Percy. He's only done a 128.3 currently, which again is off the pace for him, and he's 6 tenths down in the first sector. It's not going to plan for Lucas Percy so far tonight in qualifying. Obviously there is a long way to go. Nice job. What is he doing? Not improving either in the first sector. Who else have we got on a lap? We've got Waffler coming through Maggots and Beckett's. He's currently 2 tenths up on his best time. He has qualified on that time on mediums. He's now on a set of soft tyres. As he makes his way into the Vale chicane. Nice and tidy. Round Club Corner, over the line. 27.4 for Waffler. Sticks it alongside his teammate on the 4th row of the grid. P7 currently, P7 and 8 currently for the two Alpha Tauris. Mandro is slightly improving in the first sector. Don't know by how much. We'll see when he gets to the second sector line. He makes his way out of Chapel over. He's 3 tenths up on his best, so this could be Mandro into the 126s if he can keep it together, which so far he is. He's gone wide though, and he's got it invalidated. He was pushing a bit too hard of Mandro. It did look like he was drifting wide there, and he has unfortunately gone over that white line, so he will have to whack on a new set of tyres and try and go again. As Honesy can't improve either. Honesy is bailed for the pit lane. Void Beam is on a lap but not improving. What's Crossfire up to? And what else have we got out there? Crossfire is setting himself up for what will probably be, he might get one more run actually if he gets ground quick enough. Fazak's not improving. What's for Trusty up to? He has just started a lap, but he's got a train of people behind him and he's actually dived out of the way. He's got that many cars following him. One of them was Josh JS Gaming, who's just gone past. And Josh is not improving, unfortunately. Who else have we got out there? I think Trusty's out the equation. Crossfire one of them? No, he wasn't. He's invalidated. Ivy Whiffle is improving slightly. He's a 10th up. On his best time so far. So can Ivy Whiffle find a bit more time in the final sector and potentially move himself even further up the order? It's a 27.6 for Ivy Whiffle, but unfortunately it wasn't enough for him to improve, and he's backed out of that one, so that is his qualifying done with only 30 seconds left on the clock. Tomgo Prof has just started his final lap. Who else have we got out there? Wreck Diver has purpled the second sector. He's done a 27.7 so far. He's had a pretty horrendous first sector. He was actually down on his best time. Made all the time up in the middle sector. What can Wreck Diver do as he exits Club Corner? It's a 27.3 for Wreck Diver. It's P7 as it stands. Josh Jeff Gaming's greyed out. He has decided his day is done. Crossfire Strikes can't improve either. So the top two are done. Tomgo Prof is slightly up on his time. We'll have to keep an eye on him. Noise Job's just starting another lap. So can Tom find any time in the middle sector or the final sector and potentially steal provisional pole? Have to wait and see. He's 2 temps up, so he could potentially nick Void Beam here if he gets on with it. Unless he can find a bootload of time in the final sector, I don't think he will get Crossfire Strikes. I think Crossfire is miles ahead. Lucas Percy's just done a 126.8. That's stuck him on the second row on the mediums. What could Tomgo Prof? Tomgo Prof goes P2 ahead of Lucas Percy, or 26.7. So Lucas Percy's P3 on the mediums. Honesy's P5 on the mediums as well. What has Noise Job got in the tank? Well, he's a 10th up in the middle sector. Can he potentially spoil the party? I very much doubt it, but we'll stick and see what he can do. It will jump him up a handful of positions if he does get it done. Oh, he got it invalidated in the last corner. That's a shame. Noise Job did improve, and it would have had him P6 if that lap was to have counted. So that is the end of qualifying then. Crossfire Strikes is on pole position. Tomgo Prof is alongside him on the first row in second place. Lucas Percy is third, qualified third on the mediums, which is a very good lap indeed. Voidbeam starts fourth, Mandro's P5, Honesy starts P6 on the mediums. That's a very good qualifying from him as well. Waffler starts seventh, Noise Job eighth, Wreck Diver starts P9, Josh S Gaming P10, Ivy Whiffle P11, Fazak P12, George Matt is P13, Get Noted is 14th, Matt Magician is 15th, and Vitrosity is at the back in P16. So guys, stay tuned. I will be back shortly for the race. Welcome back to the Global Racing Network, everybody. The formation lap for round number 13 of GRL Tier 1 is underway here at Silverstone. Just a quick reminder of the grid for you. Crossfire Strikes in the Aston Martin starts on pole position. He's got Tom Go Prof for company alongside him in the Mercedes. Lucas Percy in the Red Bull starts from P3. He's got Voidbeam for company alongside him. Voidbeam starts P4 today. Mandro starts 5th in the other Aston Martin on row 3 alongside Honesy, who's starting on the mediums in P6. So just get the tyres up. Waffler in the AlphaTauri starts P7. On the 4th row of the grid, he's got Noise Job for company alongside him on row 4. Noise Job starts 8th. Wreck Diver and Josh S Gaming share the 5th row, with Ivy Whiffle and Fazak behind them on row 6. Row 7, George Matt and Get Noted, the two Alpines on the same row, P13 and P14 for them in qualifying. And on the final row, Matt Magician and Vitrosity round out the 16 car grid as everyone warms the tyres up and gets ready to go here for round number 13 of GRL here on the Global Racing Network. Who is gonna get the better getaway? It remains to be seen. Top 6, well, top 8 really, all quick drivers in their own. You could also throw a Wreck Diver in there as well. Waffler's up there. Who's going to have, well, you'd think the guys on softs are going to have the tyre advantage at the start of the race, but Lucas Percy and Honesy starting on mediums along with George Matt as well will have the tyre advantage longer into the race. They won't have to sit on them tyres as long as we see the final few cars line up at the back. And then we'll be ready to go here at Silverstone for round number 13 of GRL. Just waiting for the final few cars to slot into position as the grid loads in. And we go to 5 red lights here at Silverstone. And it's lights out and away we go, and it's a good getaway from Crossfire Strikes. Tom did bog down a little bit. Lucas Percy's going to pull alongside Tom going into Abbey. He has to tuck in, does Lucas Percy, but there's a big accident at the back, and I think it's involving Honesy. I think it is indeed. Honesy is off the road. Fazak and Josh Chess Gaming all involved in that one at the first corner. They've all managed to just about survive though, so they'll all keep going as they made their way down to Brooklands for the first time. Everyone trying to draft each other as Crossfire Strikes tries to make his charge away. Crossfire Strikes leads from Tom GoPro, from Lucas Percy. Void Beam has had a decent start. He's up to... Oh, sorry, he was 4th actually. Mandro is 5th. Wreck Diver's had a good start. He started P9 and he's up to P6 as they make their way down towards Cops for the first time. Hopefully we're not going to see a replica of Hamilton and Verstappen, and we don't this time. As they make their way into Maggots and Beckett's for the first time, but still battling for the lead though. Crossfire Strikes is having to defend from Tom GoPro. Will Tom try and use a bit of battery down this front straight down this back straight, sorry, on the opening lap? The answer is no. He's just sitting where he is for now, and he's going to try and follow him as much as he can. There's been a big incident in the middle, and a Noise Job is off the road. He has had an incident coming out of Chapel there onto the Hanger Straight, so he's had a spin and has had to head to the back of the queue. There's a few guys pitting ahead of him though, so if he hasn't got any wing damage he will get away with that. Get Noted has retired in the pit lane. Fazak is in for a stop. There's a train of Formula 1 cars heading out of the loop and on to the back straight, the Wellington straight should I say, down towards Brooklands. And it is quite a long queue in fairness. It's a queue of 8 cars currently. We're currently at the back of the queue with Ivy Whiffle following the lot of them. He's got his teammate Waffler ahead of him at the minute. And all these cars need to do is just try and follow each other. If they can stay with each other in the opening stages, they're going to do well. Pirelli saying it's going to be an easy one-stop race, which I would say, yeah, it probably is. It's not really a hard way to track is Silverstone. There is a lot of fast-flowing corners, but there's not really much of a tyre wear issue round here as there is with some of the other tracks that we go to. As we head into Vale Chicane for the second time and head round to complete lap 2. On to lap 3 we go, and Tom GoPro is starting to make his charge on Crossfire Strikes. He set the fastest lap of the race. And again he looks to follow Crossfire as much as he can through the first few corners. He's using a little bit of battery just to try and get a bit of a drive off the corner. He's got DRS on Crossfire Strikes. He's not going to make the move though into Brooklands. If he did try and make a move and got it wrong, the queue of Formula 1 cars behind him also had DRS, Lucas Percy, Void Beam and Mandro, so he didn't really need to force a move there in the early stages. As into Maggots and Beckett's we go once again. Tom looking like he's keeping his cool out there at the minute. Crossfire Strikes though might be a little bit of a sitting duck here as he's tucking in low, trying to go defensive into Stowe corner. Did Crossfire move under braking there? I'm not sure, but Tom had a little bit of a wobble there coming through Stowe. That's allowed Lucas Percy and Void Beam right onto his tail. Now the final corner, onto lap 4 we go, and Void Beam has set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix with a 1:29.9. Who is near the back of this queue. It just shows how quickly they're all driving, to say that the guy at the back is going faster than all of them. Now will Tom try and make a move down here as he makes his way into Brooklands? The answer to that is no on this occasion. Has to tuck in. But he's got to be careful what kind of move he tries to make, because he has got a mirror full of Lucas Percy, Void Beam and Mandro, who are just waiting behind to pick up the scraps. So it's whether they all just try and work with each other and pull away from the rest of the pack and fight it out over the pit stops, or in the last few laps of the race, which you don't really want to be thinking about that in the early stages. You want to be thinking of trying to fight for as many positions as possible, but Crossfire Strikes is doing really well to defend from these boys so far. Aston seems to have a lot of straight line speed behind it, because Tom and Lucas and Void Beam behind have just not been able to make a move on Crossfire Strikes with DRS. Just going to check out, see what Crossfire's like for battery. He's got a lot of battery actually. He's got more than Tom in the middle, but Lucas Percy has not used even a % of battery yet, so Lucas has a bit of an advantage. Tom's dropped well back off here. Both have DRS to close up again as they go into Brooklands, nose to tail. And they just can't find a way through on each other at the minute. Tom Prof runs out wide, just about keeps it on the racetrack. But it looks like Crossfire's being allowed to stretch his legs a little bit here. A gap is definitely starting to form. But Tom is gonna be able to drag that back in with DRS. He got a yellow in sector 2. That was Mac Magician had a spin on the exit, well, between Lovefield and Woodcote, so that's what that was for. I don't think he's got any damage out of it from what I'm seeing so far. So I think he'll just about live to fight another day. And on to lap 6 we go. And this battle is still not deflated. But Tom's coming under a bit of pressure here from Lucas Percy. Will Lucas try and force his way around the outside? No, but he's going to try to switch back into the loop. Will he try and switch him back on the exit? They've got to be careful tripping over each other. Will Lucas Percy use a bit of battery to try and get past Tom Prof? The answer is no, so the nose to tail once again into Brooklands. Everyone is just working with each other and just trying to follow each other as much as they can without really forcing anybody into an error so far. God, that was good camera angle there through Cop's corner, but it looks like Lucas Percy has sensed his chance, and Tomgo Prof has lost 2 positions before Maggots and Beckett. Tomgo Prof is down to 4th place. Lucas Percy got a good run on exit, and Void Beam was right behind him, dragged him along. It looks like Lucas Percy might try and go for the lead now. Round the outside of Crossfire Strikes into Stoke Corner, but Crossfire is still there and will fight it out. Little bit of wheel banging between the two of them as they head into Vale Chicane, and Lucas Percy is ahead and into the race lead as they end lap 6 and go on to lap 7. Lucas Percy, fastest lap of the Grand Prix on the medium tyres. Are the softs starting to drop off a little bit now, and is that why Lucas Percy was able to make that move? We will have to wait and see. Will we see a response from Crossfire Strikes? Well, I would like to think we would. He's that close enough that you'd think a response will be warranted. As they go nose to tail once again into Brooklands. And into Lovefield, they're still scrapping for position. But it's looking good between them so far. Yellow in sector 2. Mandro has had a spin. That looks like a Woodcote to me, and it is indeed. So Mandro has fallen down the order. Back to the front now with his teammate, who's trying to force a move on Lucas Percy, which he couldn't quite do, and now he's got defending from Voidbeam to do. They're going to try and draft each other. Will Crossfire try and make a move on Lucas Percy into Stowe? He does indeed. Voidbeam sticks the wheel on the inside, and they've had a massive accident. Voidbeam is off into the gravel, and he stuck a wheel up the inside of Lucas Percy, and it was too little room to make a move. And Voidbeam is headed for the pit lane after that. He's luckily just about survived, but that is another turning point in this championship battle. Voidbeam tried to force a move. He saw Crossfire strike. Crossfire Strikes has got past and got back into the race lead. But he tried to follow through on Lucas Percy. He tried to follow Crossfire's line. And Lucas Percy had shut the door on him, and he had nowhere to go. So that has dropped Voidbeam, down to 11th place. That could be a big moment in the championship fight. Currently Voidbeam is just exiting the pit lane. Obviously the others have got to pit, but as it stands, Voidbeam will not be scoring points today here at Silverstone. He's going to have a very big 18 laps ahead of him to try and get, sorry, not 18, my maths is 8:26. I think it will be 18 actually. He's going to have a big race ahead of him regardless. So Crossfire takes the lead, but Lucas Percy is staying with him. I am hearing, or just looking at the Discord chat, the incident between Lucas Percy and Voidbeam will be investigated after the race. It's also included Crossfire Strikes in there because he did make the move on Lucas Percy, but it is an incident that is going to be investigated, I'm being told. So there could be some penalties on the way. It's just whether Lucas Percy moved across Voidbeam or not. That is the crucial fact. If he did, and he shut the door on Voidbeam when he had his nose alongside, then if you ask me, that's a penalty. If Voidbeam wasn't fully alongside, which some people might argue he wasn't, you would say it's a racing incident, but you never know. Meanwhile, still back at the front, Lucas Percy and Crossfire Strikes still scrapping it out. Tom Prof is trying to catch back up as well. Tom actually had to take some avoiding action to avoid Voidbeam going off the road. That's why he's dropped off the back of this train. Lucas Percy looking to the outside and can't get the move done there. But he'll look to brake heavily into Vale. And once again, he can't quite do the move there. Oh, what's happened at the back? I think Wreck Diver has had an incident. And we have a full course safety car. Well, that is a big turning point in the race. What has happened to Wreck Diver? We'll have to wait and see. It looks like he has had a crash at Stowe Corner. So, I'm wondering, he was scrapping away with Mandro and Vitrocity. There's Wreck Diver. Oh, he's gone into the inside wall and gone back across the racetrack. So I'm wondering if there was some form of contact between two drivers there. My gut feeling says there was, because it's a very strange place to have an off. So that might be game, set and match for that one. Looks like a quite serious incident. That I think that will be one that will be investigated. I will try and find out what has exactly happened. But it looks like to me Wreck Diver has had some contact there, because he's actually gone into the inside wall and popped his right tyre off. So I'm wondering if he's had some contact with somebody on the straight and there was just nothing he could have done. I think that seems the most likely cause. I think I can expect all the race leaders into the pit lane here. And they do indeed. Crossfire's in, Lucas Percy in, Tom is in. Sure. Oh, this could be awkward for AlphaTauri. Ivy's in. Is Waffler going to stay out? No, the answer is no. They're going to try the double stack. AlphaTauri. I've got a funny feeling this could go horribly wrong for them. I think they were a little bit too close coming into the pit lane. However, who's that going through? I think it's Noise Job who's a lap down going through there. And it has played awkwardly for AlphaTauri. They have held each other up in the pits. However, they've still got out ahead of Honesy in the Ferrari, so that isn't a disaster really. That could have gone a lot worse for them, in fairness. Going to bring them out in quite a large grouping. Ivy Whiffle's come out in 4th. So with everyone making pit stops, the field is now neutralised and Ivy Whiffle is going to find himself up there with the leaders. I know there is always a lot of support in the chat for Ivy. So can he hold his nerve against the big dogs at the front? And can he potentially make a move to try and get himself up into a podium position? That is going to be the crucial thing. I've just had a word in the chat. Ricey's put, can I join the league? Absolutely, mate, you can join the league with my other account. I will put a link to our Discord in the chat very shortly once I've logged back in to the GRN account on my phone. I will put a link to our Discord in the chat. While I do that, guys, we're going to take a quick break while the safety car continues, and we'll be back shortly for the restart. Welcome back, guys, to the Global Racing Network. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap just before the restart gets underway. I have put a link, Discord link in the chat for a couple of guys asking, can I join the league? There is a link to our Discord in the chat that I've just put in if you want to join us, as Crossfire Strikes is leading us away then to get the race back underway, and he's gone very early indeed. Got the jump on Lucas Percy, and we are back underway on lap 14. Everyone has stopped in the race so far, so everyone has made a mandatory stop. So that is it. Oh, nice job is in the wall at the restart. There's debris on the exit there. I think it's off the racing line, so I don't think we will get any virtual safety car for that, but Lucas Percy is already sensing his attack, and he's going to go up the inside into Brooklands. They almost make contact between the two of them. Lucas Percy's going to try and swing round the outside in left field, trying to get the power down early, and gets ahead. What a move that is from Lucas Percy on Crossfire Strikes, but it's not over yet. Crossfire's going to try and stick a wheel up the inside of Cops. He just about avoid contact between the two of them. Crossfire just about backs out, otherwise I think we would have had a Hamilton Verstappen there with Lucas Percy barrelling off into the wall, but Crossfire Strikes backed out and conceded the position in the end, but we'll try and close back up to Lucas Percy. No DRS for 2 laps, so Crossfire just needs to stay with Lucas Percy until the DRS gets re-enabled. So make their way out of Vale then, and on to the Hamilton straight. 1:28.4 for Lucas Percy, fastest lap of the race so far with 11 laps to go. And a few penalties being doshed about as well. Harvey Whiffle, Mandro, Waffler, Vitrosity, George Matt, Josh S. Gaming and Matt Magician all on penalties as it stands for track limits or speed in the pit lane or one thing or another. Our Woodco onto the old pit straight. Crossfire Strikes is still trying to stay with Lucas Percy on board with Crossfire, just exiting Cops Corner. Now into the sling of Maggots and Beckett's. Crossfire does seem a lot quicker than Lucas Percy through here. Lucas has gone very wide on exit there. That's going to allow Crossfire just to get a little bit closer, but Crossfire has just picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So it seems like he was pushing a little bit too hard there, which is going to bring Togo Prof back into play. And DRS is enabled this lap. What's happened to Josh S. Gaming? The answer is he has spun trying to enter the pit lane, I think. So he has got it all say and do. In fact, he's retired in the pit lane, so his day is done. Crossfire with DRS, trying to close onto the back of Lucas Percy, and he's nose to tail with him right now. As Crossfire has got DRS, senses his chance and gets through on Lucas Percy, but he has got that 3-second penalty still looming over him. Lucas is going to try and fight back if he can and try and win this one on the road rather than letting the penalties do it for him. as Matt Magician has DNF'd. He has had a crash at Beckett's. Is that going to bring out a safety car? As Crossfire has a little bit of wobble on exit there. The answer is no, nothing is going to come of that. The marshals are getting that cleared away before they get round to there. As Crossfire's coming under pressure from Lucas Percy once again. Lucas desperately wants to win this one on the road, I think, but if they scrap too much, they're going to bring Tom Go Prof into play very quickly, and it will become a three-way battle for the lead once again. As Lucas Percy still staying with Crossfire. Crossfire's got that 3-second penalty looming over him. Ivy Whiffle's just picked up another penalty. So penalties are stacking up left, right and centre so far. Crossfire staying where he is. As Lucas is still pinned to the back of that Aston Martin. He really wants to win this one on the road. Road does Lucas Percy with 8 laps to go. He doesn't want the penalties at the end to dictate this race. And he's going to try and make the move around the outside into Brooklyn. That is going to be brave indeed. He's hanging it around the outside. Crossfire's not going to give up. But Lucas Percy is back into the race lead with a sensational move around the outside into Brooklands. And takes the race lead back, but Crossfire's going to try and go a long way round into Cops. That was brave. Has to cede way as Lucas Percy was going to come straight across his path. This is great racing for the lead of this race. Granted, there's a penalty hanging over Crossfire, but fair play to them. They're giving it them all. And Crossfire has got DRS back on Lucas Percy. He's going to try to make the move into Stowe and gets it done. Swapping positions like yo-yos are these two. Crossfire Strikes is back into the race lead. Great racing. Lucas is still there though, and will not give this one up easily, I don't think. Lucas trying to go around the outside once again. He can't get it done there. And has to tuck back in behind Crossfire Strikes. 7 laps to go in this GRL British Grand Prix. And it looks like Lucas is going to try and go the long way round into Cop's Corner. Has to cede way again as Crossfire cuts across his path this time. They are really tripping over each other, these boys. Tom behind really needs to capitalise on this. If he can get close to any of them and get it within DRS range, this could be anybody's race by the time they come to the end. But Lucas Percy has got DRS on Crossfire. Crossfire gives him the position in the end, and Lucas Percy is back up into the race lead on the road. But will Crossfire try and follow him right to the end of the race? Or will they try and get back past him again as they exit onto lap 20? 6 to go in this race. Noise Job has had a spin ahead of them at the loop. That is going to bring some yellow flags into play. He's got back going, so by the time they got there, it had been cleared up. The Crossfire is a lot further back behind Lucas Percy now, so I think that battle is pretty much deflated for the time being. Meanwhile, Hoonsy's trying to get past Mandro here. This is for 4th place. And what has happened to Waffler? Waffler has had a spin that is coming out of the loop and onto the Wellington straight. Waffler is gone. So he's dropped down the order quite significantly. Hoonsy's still on the back of Mandro. What penalties have these guys got? That's what I want to know. The answer is 3 seconds each, so they are battling for position currently. As Honesy will try and make the move around the outside of Mandro into Stowe corner. This is going to be brave if he pulls this one off. Oh, and he's done it as well. Great move from Honesy. Will Mandro try and fight back into the chicane? The answer is no. Has to sit behind him at Vale. Onto the pit straight once again. Lap 21 out of 26, 5 to go now. Crossfire has backed off quite significantly on Lucas Percy now, so I think, unless something drastic happens, Lucas Percy might have this one wrapped up. As Ivy Whiffle's starting to fall down the order a little bit. His Void Beam has got past him for 6th position. Void Beam hasn't got a single penalty to his name. Ivy Whiffle has. As he tries and closes up with DRS, gets very close to the back of Void Beam there, going through Brooklands. As we look at the heli cam, going back down the old pit straight. And Ivy Whiffle staying where he is, through Cops they go. Now, this battle may not be deflated at the front because Crossfire Strikes has got back within DRS of Lucas Percy, and he's going to try and make a move into Stowe. Lucas Percy slams the door shut on him at that occasion. Will Crossfire have a lunge into the chicane? The answer is no. So has to follow him out of club corner onto the pit straight on to lap 22 out of 26, 4 to go. And it is still all to play for between Lucas Percy and Crossfire Strikes, but Crossfire has got that 3-second penalty over his head. He'll try and get DRS down the back straight, which he does, closes up, but not close enough on that occasion for him. Tom is not getting anywhere near these boys at the minute near the front, so there's not a great deal he can do at the minute about anything that's going on behind him. Down the inside goes Crossfire Strikes into the lead as it stands, but will Lucas Percy try and fight it back? The answer is yes. He's going to try and go the long way around into the chicane, but he can't get it done. So Crossfire leads the way, but Crossfire's got to pull a 3-second gap to Lucas Percy if he is going to win this race. Will Lucas have a look into Village? The answer is no. Sits behind Crossfire Strikes. I think he's waiting for the DRS with 3 laps to go, and he will get DRS on Crossfire Strikes now, but shuts it immediately. Decides he's just going to sit behind him for now. Did think about going for it, but decided better of it for the time being. To head through Maggots and Beckett's once again. Lucas Percy still sat behind Crossfire Strikes But with that penalty looming over Crossfire, I don't think he's going to have a lot to do. Lucas Percy not close enough to make a move on that occasion. As Lucas Percy still sits behind Crossfire Strikes. He might just sit behind him for the last few laps of this race and not even bother trying to make a move really. It might be better off trying to do that. Because if he does just do that, then he's gonna be in a very good position come the end of the race. With Tom still 2 seconds behind, Lucas doesn't really need to fight this one. Oh, and who's that off the road? Is that nice job? It is indeed again. He's had another moment, unfortunately. It's not the first time he's done that today. Go on to the final few laps. Lucas Percy is just sitting behind there, about to hit traffic though ahead, which could make it very interesting indeed. Between them, Lucas Percy is going to try and make a move on Crossfire Strikes here with the advantage of traffic. And he gets the move done. Lucas Percy back up into the race lead. And it looks like he will do it from there on in. Lucas Percy sets the fastest lap of the race because of it and goes on to the final lap. It looks like Crossfire Strikes might not even come third here. Tom Prof is within touching distance. He won't come second. He might get third if he stays far enough ahead of Mandro behind. But Lucas Percy is going to take another win. He struggled in previous races, last few races in fact. He has struggled as Lucas Percy, but it looks like he's going to turn it around here at the British Grand Prix this afternoon. As he makes his way through the final few corners. Down the hanger straight into Stowe Corner, and it looks like he is gonna get the job done. There's the penalty situation, and Lucas Percy is going to take another win here in GRL. Red Bull will be delighted. Lucas Percy wins the British Grand Prix here in GRL. Crossfire Strikes comes home for second place. Tomgo Prof in the end comes home third. He fell off in the last sector and didn't get enough, so Crossfire hangs on to second. Tomgo Prof third. Voidbeam comes home fourth. Mandro's home in fifth. Honesy's home in sixth. Ivan Whiffles across the line in 7th. Fazak's home in P8. Ivan Whiffle will come home 9th. Vitrosity will come home 10th. And Noise Job will come home eventually in 11th place. So another great race for Lucas Percy. After having a bit of rotten luck last couple of races, he finally gets the job done here at Silverstone this evening as he cruises back to Park Ferme. Crossfire Strikes put on a good fight, but that penalty really cost him dear in the end. Just couldn't get anywhere near Lucas Percy, and in trying to get near, just could not do anything about it. So Lucas Percy takes another win here in GRL. Vitrosity gets driver of the day in the McLaren. Fairly deserved, to be fair. Started well down the order, did Vitrosity. He did well to get it back where he did. Guys, thanks very much for watching, and we will see you next time.